Hello there, beautiful people. My name is Tim Lee. Welcome to Legacy Studio and Draw Too Much. I have been waiting with bated breath for this box. The GOULET Pen Company. I'm glad it came in today. I'm going to open it up and we're going to take a look at 3 pens that I purchased. Some TWSBIs and one other one. Some of these were per the suggestion of Ethan over there at the GOULET Pen Company. Before I get started here, let me go ahead and start my recorder on my other camera. Give it a clap in. That way we're all synced up. And now we're going to be ready to rock and roll. I need something to break into this unless I can just remove the tape. I'm going to go ahead and try and put a box in my upper shot here so that we can see what's going on as we get in here. That wasn't a very good rip. Anyway. Okay. Muscles aren't going to work. There we go. Okay. We're in. We are so in. Let's take a look and see what we have inside here. As we get the box open, I keep looking up at my camera to make sure that we're in alignment. Okay. So I got a hold of Ethan when I was talking to him about another pen that I just purchased. I'm trying to get it out of my bag here. I talked about this in my previous video. This is the Montverd Usa Ritma. I got a new nib for it from them. I love that pen very much. If you want to get a Ritma, I highly advise it. Let's go ahead and see what we got in here. We'll put this to the side, though I'm sure this is the important stuff. Let's go ahead and make sure that box is completely empty. Start with the little things first. All right. What do we got here? We have a, looks like a different kind of converter than I've seen. This is the Con 40. It's got 3 or 4 different ball bearings in there. That's a very small amount of space for ink. Well, I guess it would go down there, but they have this spacer in here that's keeping the ball bearings from falling below. It seems like it's also being kind of held in place by some static electricity. That's kind of cool. All right. I packed your order with a slightly ridiculous amount of care to make sure that the writing products you have would arrive safely today. I'd love to hear what you think about how I've done at gouletpens.com/packing. Thank you. And it looks like it says Anita. Well, I didn't even read the name right below it. It says Anita. I apparently did really well. And we got a sticker from Ellie Goulet, age 8. This is my second sticker from Ellie. And these things are so cute. My wife, I showed it to her, and she's like, "Oh, it's so adorable." I know, right? Okay, so we're gonna dig in now and see what comes in this lovely little package. Hi, Zoe. You're on the no, I guess you're on the right side of the camera to say hi to everyone. Yeah, you're such a good girl. All right, let's see what's in the paper. This is when things get interesting. Of course, if you do not get a lollipop from them, then you definitely haven't gotten a Goulet box unless they just ran out. Hey, shortages are everywhere, okay? This one is a watermelon one. We'll put that to the side. That's obviously not the center of our attention today. So this is a TWSBI swipe. They mentioned this on their website, on their YouTube just recently, that this is one of their most popular pens of 2021. And I was taking a look at it. I'm like, okay, got to get the TWSBI swipe. This one here is the Preppy. Nice thing about the Preppy is it's incredibly affordable. This is the EF02 Preppy. And I believe that I bought an EF, extra fine nib. And this is like $7. It's an incredibly affordable little pen. The nib looks very much like a Lamy. And we'll come back to that and look at it in more detail here in a minute. And then a Cacuno. This one is a what is it? Pilot Cacuno. And this one is also an EF. And the reason why I wanted EFs, and all these should be EF, is because in talking with Ethan, I said, hey, where do I find a pen that's going to have a really, really tight nib for like really fine cross-hatching? And he goes, okay, well, Japanese-made pens are going to have a finer line. Okay, cool. So we're going to put that to the test, and I don't remember which converter, Pilot, Con 40. So this Pilot here probably goes with I don't know. We'll find out here in a minute. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by unboxing this TWSBI. This is actually the one that I'm most excited about, just knowing that it sells so well. I do find that the box is kind of small. I do like this all-plastic box here. That's pretty cool. Let's see if it's ready to open, or do I need to untape it? Okay, it's got tape on both sides. So we'll go ahead and remove the little dot tapes on both sides. Thankfully, that's pretty easy to do. I'll just stick them on the top here. You see, now the thing I love about this is look at all the converter options. Looks like it even comes with an extra converter. The size of the pen is nice and thick. Optional use with cartridge not needed during normal use. Spring adds extra security for maximum engagement with cartridge during extreme movements, like dropping the pen on the floor. Very cool. And that's an optional use. I love just how big it looks like you can fit a very large converter in there. I definitely want something that's going to hold a lot of ink, and this looks like it's going to be that kind of a pen. TWSBI nib, extra fine, and it looks pretty sweet. Let's unscrew this and take a look. Look at the size of this converter and spring plunger. I mean, that would take on so much ink. That is thrilling. That's going to be really, really, really nice. So I'm very excited about this pen. It's very plastic, very, very plastic, very light. It's nothing like 50 grams of my Ritma, not even close, but it still feels sturdy, still feels strong. And once again, the space that you get, the amount of space that you get is awesome. And look at this. Here's an extra pump converter. Let's see, is this a, yep, see, you got an extra piston converter if you want it. I don't have a need for this if I already have this awesome system here. I love that. And of course, a extra bit of ink here. I don't know, I guess TWSBI ink. And then the spring, which is right here. So I am going to very lovingly put these back in here because I am just going to use my favorite ink, which is my carbon ink. And we'll go ahead and slide all this back in here and just fill this pen directly with carbon ink right into the converter system that's already there. But you got to admit, comes with a lot of extra goods. I dig that. I love it. We'll come back to that in a minute. I'm very excited about that pen. All right, once again, we're back at this one. The Preppy, Platinum Preppy. This is EF02. I do think the nib is very interesting. It's very small, though, so I have a feeling that's going to be a very... there probably won't be any pressure sensitivity in that. Let's take a look at what we got inside here. Pretty simple. Nice, large... this says PBB20J. Not sure if that means anything to anyone. Looks like it's got a ball bearing in the end here, which is interesting. So I guess when you compress it, it pushes the ball bearing up and allows the ink to come free. It looks like blue ink to me. I'm going to probably put this one off to the side and go with my carbon ink just because that's what I like to do. In saying that, I'm pretty sure that I bought this converter specifically for the Preppy. Don't quote me on that. I will I will know in a second here as I rip into this rather forcefully. Looking at this here, this system here is pretty high up. I hope you guys have seen all this. I haven't been looking at my camera to verify, but I'm curious. That doesn't seem to fit the way I was thinking it would. So this must not be the converter for this one. So maybe I forgot to get a converter for this one. We'll come back to this in a second, because if that is the case, then I will be using this ink to test it out. But we're going to give this a second for me to think about this a little bit and see what the story is behind this Preppy, and if I bought it with this this ink cartridge. And of course, I can fill the ink cartridge myself, which is what I'll probably end up doing if that converter is not for the Preppy, and maybe it's not. But we'll come back to that, of course, in a few minutes. Let's take a look at the Cacuno. This one, fountain pen stylo plume. Very nice little box, very cute. We're going to go ahead and open it up. Now, apparently, you know when your pen is face up because it's got a cute little smiley face on it. So This is also EF, so hopefully it will do a very nice fine line. It looks like a normal nib. Actually has the very same nib style of the Pilot. Hang on, it's coming to me. Oh gosh, Metropolitan. That's what it is. Metropolitan. Very similar to the Metropolitan. So I'm okay with that. I do like that cute little smiley face on there with that EF. Let's take a look if this converter is the one that I got for this. This actually looks more correct to me. Yep, slides in there with compression. There we go. This converter goes with this kit here. This does come with black ink as well. I find it interesting. Look at how little ink goes in there. I definitely like larger ink cartridges. I don't want to have to do too much refilling. Let's see what's in here in the box. We'll go ahead and open this up. Okay, extra Pilot ink cartridge with Pilot fountain pens. Just says B for black. Shows how to slide it in. Don't really care about that at the moment. How to enjoy Cacuno. All right, let's take a look here really quick. Okay, let's get started with your Kikuno. Writing with a fountain pen will feel different. Cap it, unscrew the barrel, and push the ink cartridge in. Wait around 10 seconds for the ink to come out. Now start and write and have fun and love it and see my smiley face. So this looks like a great starter pen for a lot of people. Once again, I will be using my my ink for this pen since I did get this cap with it. So let's go ahead and start the filling process and see how these all hold up together. Very, very cute. Okay, let's first start with this guy, since we know all we're going to do here is put the converter on, and not the converter, but we're just going to pop in this piece here, and we're going to have ourselves some ink. So very carefully compress that on there. There we go. Push it nice and tight. I do like how big the cartridge is. It's a nice large cartridge. Let's go ahead and put this back on here and screw it on. Whoa, take a look at that. So we got a lot of ink coming through here now. Hopefully that's what's supposed to happen. And in a second here, hopefully we'll start getting some writing here. We'll give it a few moments, of course, to soak on down here. I'll cap it off, and I'm just going to let that rest for a second, pointing down, so it starts to take some of that ink down. That will take care of that one. This one was for our little guy here. So let's go ahead and swap it up here. We're going to get these two pens out and also get out my carbon ink. And I want to make sure I get the right one here. So here's the carbon ink I'm going to use. I accidentally contaminated one of my carbon inks with some plume ink because I filled up my private reserve plume that came free with one of my pens, and got to try it out from Goulet, and then I emptied it accidentally into one of my black carbon inks, which of course contaminated that carbon ink, so now I got a carbon/purple ink by accident. Go ahead and start by getting as much ink into that unit there. Once again, I love the idea of this. All you're going to do is push down on that nib there, compress the spring, and let it fill. I think that's awesome. So let's just give it a shot here and see. There we go. It's filling up. Filling up real good. Okay, now it only filled up that first little bit there. So I'm going to try and pour a little bit more ink into the inkwell here and carefully dip it in, push out the ink, and then pull it back up and see if it pulls more in the process. It did. There we go. So we're getting there a little bit more, slightly more full. I'd like to see that even fuller, so put a little bit more ink in here. Stick that nib down in there. We'll push it all out again and see if we can get even more to come through here as we move the air out and get that ink all moved in. Okay, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Okay, so well dipped. I'm going to go ahead and very carefully make sure that I don't have anything on my hand and put the cap on here. Slightly transparent so you can totally see through and see how much ink you have in the pen. You can also get different colors. I chose this color specifically. Now, let me go ahead. I just thought that black and clear looked a little better. I'm going to go ahead and try and wipe out some of the ink off of the pen, and also just try to clean up the nib with a couple quick strokes here. Come on, there we go. All right, I think I got it somewhat clean. I'd like to make sure. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Now, I think what I'm going to do is just a couple quick tests. We're going to call this more of an unboxing video. I'm just going to try and draw with it quick first impression, and then, sorry, my wife is texting me. And then what I will do is, I was going to say if you want, I'll just do it. I'll make some videos of actually doing some drawings and putting these pens to the test. So this is the TWSBI. Wow, this feels very much like a normal pen. No pen pressure here at all. So this is the TWSBI, and what did it was swipe? Swipe. Okay. Any pressure? Yeah, a little bit. Not really, though. The nib is nice, though. I mean, I'm drawing fast there without any qualm of running out of ink there. That's nice. This will be pretty sweet, actually. I do like how that feels. It feels very, no pressure, not having to wear out your wrist or anything doing this. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's nice. So we'll have to test out the TWSBI swipe a bit more as we get further into it. But for now, that's great. We'll look at that in more detail in another video. Like I said, this will be more of our unboxing video. Let's come back to our Preppy and see if the Preppy has gotten ink into the nib, and it has. Okay, so this is going to be the Preppy. Wow. And then blue. Okay, it doesn't feel like that ink is really flowing out very fast just yet. I do love how thin it is. That is a needle nose with a very, very tiny ball tip there. So the Preppy is very thin. And there's no way to prime it, so this is just waiting for ink. And it's not quite giving me what I'm hoping for just yet. And I would love to try some other ink in here, but I, once again, did not get a converter for this. So, let's see. Yeah, this one is a very, very sharp nib. It's grabbing the paper real easy. It is definitely very, very fine, though. It's also, yeah, it's also giving me some, it's not laying down a full line of ink just yet. So the faster I go, it's actually keeping it semi-transparent. So every time I go over top, I can see my line over my other line. So, I mean, technically, if it stays this way, now, once again, this is the ink that comes with the Pilot Preppy. Excuse me, Platinum Preppy, my bad, Platinum Preppy. That could just be an ink issue itself. I wish I had thought to get a converter. And actually, I think I would have gotten one if I had seen one, but I didn't in this situation. But can't cry for, I think, $7 for this pen. It's very thin, which I wanted. I want super thin, but it's also not exactly giving me very much ink just yet. So maybe it needs to set a little bit longer. We'll come back to that. Now, it's time to get the Pilot Cacuno lined up here. So let's go ahead and get its piston ready to fill up. Now, the thing I think is interesting is that they have these 4 ball bearings here that will definitely fill this up. I do think that they could have made this converter much, much larger. I'm not sure why on earth they are not utilizing all the rest of the space in this pen. That is mildly frustrating. Why don't you make the converter taller and just add on to it? I mean, because this thing is not moving as I'm turning this. It's not growing or shrinking. So you could have made that bigger and made that well bigger to hold more ink. That's just me, though. I don't want to run out of ink at random. That's why I have 3 containers of carbon black ink, because I was never sure when I was going to run out. So let's go ahead and fill this one up. So there we go. Let's get some more ink into that system there. Push out all the air. And pump it up again. Do it again. Pump it up again. Bit more ink in the reservoir. Get all those air bubbles out. Do it nice and slow, so we get as many air bubbles out of that as possible. All right, it's not very high there, but that's going to be fine. Now, once again, this is a bit more of a test against the Metropolitan, and we'll have to do that in another video. Like I said, today I'm just keeping this simple, but the writing structure of this nib looks very similar to the Metropolitan. I'll have to remember what size nib is on my Metropolitan, but that same shape with that large filler. What is it? What is that properly called? Hang on, while I'm trying to get this ink off here. Large feed on the bottom. It's a very Pilot has a very specific kind of feed that I've seen on this pen and on the Metro, also known as the Metropolitan. I'm just calling it Metro for short. So this pen is sort of filled up right now. It's enough certainly to test it. Let's see what we get and see what kind of thin line's going to happen here. So this is the Pilot. Ooh. Oh, very nice, very nice, very nice, very nice. And this is the Cacuno. Cacuno. Oh, so thin. So thin. Oh, I love that. Okay. This is what I was looking for. Any pressure? Very slight, but not really. Oh, I love that. Okay, Pilot Cacuno. Very, very nice. Very, very thin. Like I said, we will do extra videos on these as I have the chance to sketch with them a bit more. All right, Pilot Cacuno. Very, very, very nice. The Kikuno is very interesting. Now, once again, it's not putting out a lot of ink, which is a good thing. You don't want it too wet. Which means that, and as I keep going here, it might be getting a bit darker, which I hope it is. But, I mean, this is the thing I wanted. I wanted very, very, very thin lines to do very detailed cross-hatching, to really start building up structures. Now, as I'm doing this, it doesn't feel scratchy, but I'm already looking at the nib of the front of the nib on the pen, and it is grabbing fibers of the paper. And if you're curious, this is a mixed media Bee and Fang speedball paper that I'm writing on. It's the same one that I used in my review of the Ritma. And yeah, this is just nice. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I was looking for a pen with a incredibly thin line. I wanted a very thin line, and the Pilot is giving that to me. And I can get thin lines with some of my other pens. Like even my Ritma, which has a much larger nib on it. But the difference that I was looking for is one where I had a bit more resolution to work with. So even if I push a little bit harder on this, on the Kikuno, I still had a little bit of working room, and this is giving it to me. I'm very, very pleased by that. The one that's letting me down right now is the Preppy, but it's only $7, and I'm using their ink, so at this point, I'm not surprised. That ball bearing has now slid into the pen, so as I shake it back and forward, I feel the ball bearing going. Let's try this again. Preppy. Also, very, very thin line. I would love to try it with my carbon ink, but of course there isn't a good way to do that at the moment. I would need to drain this cartridge and refill it with that ink to really test it. This feels almost like a ballpoint. Feels very, very ballpoint-esque in a way. It's got its own feeling, but it's not letting out a solid dark line unless I go slow. Yeah. So it could be the ink, but it's not really giving me much now. I think Platinum here, oh, these are the same brand. So the carbon ink here that I'm using is actually the same brand as this Platinum Preppy. But I mean, yes, we are getting that nice thin line. But yeah, it's just not quite. Yeah, this is not quite giving me exactly what I'm feeling in the Kikuno. And let me go back one more time to the TWSBI Swipe. Give this one more try in comparison. TWSBI Swipe, definitely a bit thicker. But I'm getting a nice, deep, solid line. Not even spelling this right. TWSBY. So trying some thick to thin on the pull down. So let's go for pull down on that. Normal scratch. See, I can, if I was to try really, really hard and draw fast, I can get some fairly thin lines, but I don't have the resolution. I'm having to barely touch the paper to get that thin line. This right here, this Cacuno, though, I can put it right next to it, and I will get that same thick line with the same amount of with the same amount of pressure that this line gets out of the TWSBI Swipe. So very, very cool. 3 new pens to my collection. Very pleased by them. I'll do some actual sketches with them in a couple future videos. If you are enjoying these, please hit that like button. Let me know. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'm new to the fountain pen game. I think I'm up to 10 or 12 fountain pens now. Maybe a few more, a few less. But I've loved the experience. Loved meeting people in this industry. Loved watching fellow YouTubers make some really crazy art with just a fountain pen. It's been very, very inspiring. And here I am now making an absolute mess in the world of fountain pens, trying to give it a shot myself. But I found it to be very freeing from the world that I have been in, which is drawing caricatures and drawing people and having to do other people's art instead of forcing myself to do my own. And I find that when I pick up a fountain pen and I don't have any plan to pre-sketch and I just start drawing, there's something important to me that makes me go, okay, this is all for me. This is not for anybody else. I get to do what I want here, and I should do what I want here. Let's just make a mess and have fun. And that is some of the funnest artwork that I've done for myself recently that I have deeply, deeply appreciated. So that's going to do it, my friends. Keep it crispy. First Tim 412. Thank you so much for joining me here on Draw Too Much. Don't forget to check out my other channels, which would be DORKA for music and Legacy Studio for gaming and tech. And, of course, we'll have some more fun here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.